Caernarfon Castle is one of the most powerful and dominating castles in Britain. It is colossal, and it was made to strike fear into the hearts of the Welsh people who lived in this area, and to keep them under submission to the kings of England who had conquered. It has stood the test of time throughout the centuries, and did withstand a number of sieges. Today, Caernarfon Castle is still very important, as it was used as the site of the investiture of the Prince of Wales, with the current king, Charles III, being made Prince of Wales in 1969. It today is also a World Heritage Site, and a place considered incredibly significant to the story of Britain. But there is one part of the castle which was incredibly feared and also fearsome, and that is the Gatehouse. But why was this? Following King Edward I's conquest of Wales, he had a ring of stone, a ring of iron created, a series of impenetrable castles in the north of the country, which were constructed to bring the Welsh to heel. The English wanted to strike fear into the hearts of the Welsh, but with the construction of Caernarfon, the greatest castle builders and architects of the time got to work. They also built town walls around Caernarfon, and these connected the castle, and the English also built a new quay, or a harbour. To begin with, ditches and the outer castle walls were created, but the gatehouse was also constructed rather quickly. This gatehouse in particular is known as the King's Tower. It is known that a king was born inside of the castle, and he may have actually been born above the gatehouse. The son of Edward I, the future King Edward II, was born at Caernarfon on the 25th of April 1284. Around this time, there was a garrison of 40 soldiers based there, more than any other castle, and this may have been due to the size of the castle, or the fact that the English king believed there was more anti-English sentiment in Caernarfon. But the gatehouse of the castle was one which was built for a purpose, to keep people out of the main castle, and also to maim and kill those in the most brutal ways who attempted to storm Caernarfon and attack. The King's Gatehouse had many different slots built into the ceiling, in which a portcullis could be dropped and lowered at different positions. There were, I think it's 7 different places that a portcullis could be dropped. Now, this wasn't built just so they could change the position of the portcullis, the iron gate-like structure, every day of the week. They didn't tend to go, oh, it's Tuesday today, so we'll move it a bit further back. That just didn't happen. This was a structure built with a purpose. It was done with the intention to trap and then slaughter those who attacked in a killing zone. A gatehouse traditionally is the weakest part of a castle, and it was a place where an invading force would try to hit first. But Caernarfon's gatehouse was special. As an attacking group of soldiers ran towards the portcullis at the end of the gatehouse, which was lowered, they would try and gain access to the heart of the castle. But whilst this happened, guards who were situated above would then trap the attackers by dropping another portcullis behind the attackers to surprise them, and this left the rebels trapped with nowhere to go. This is where the brutal bit then came. From above, in the ceiling of the gatehouse, are a number of murder holes. From above, the defenders of the castle would throw all manner of horrible things down onto the trapped attackers. They threw things such as hot oil onto those below from the murder holes, but more commonly used was hot sand. This doesn't sound painful, and it would have been gathered from the banks of the river and the nearby sea, and the sand would have been boiled, and then this was thrown down below, and the sand then got into the cracks of the armour, causing immense burns and suffering. But also the guards fired their crossbows through the murder holes and shot arrows down below onto the attackers, killing them relatively easily because they were trapped with no worries at all. They would simply just open up the hatches of the murder holes, take aim and fire. They were comfortable too, as there was so much panic down below that no one would notice what was happening. What also made the King's Gatehouse so horrific was the fact that many of the defenders could just move around the side of the trapped soldiers too. Corridors and passageways allowed them to move around freely, and through holes at the sides of the gatehouse, spears, lances and other weapons could be thrust into the trapped soldiers. It was a killing field, but this was all intended, and the castle was designed in this way. Inside many other castles in this area constructed by the English during the Middle Ages, there were murder holes and other structures like the Gatehouse of Caernarfon made. One historian claimed about Caernarfon that no building in Britain demonstrates more strikingly the immense strength of medieval fortifications than the great twin-towered gateway to Caernarfon Castle. It was immensely formidable, and the King's Gate is a fearsome structure that was built in such a way to keep attackers out of one of the greatest and strongest castles in Britain. I've got the beach to myself, lovely. Literally no one here. Fantastic.